is the importance of Mango Street in Esperanza's life, and you say, I have a belly button, all right, that will not count as your grade, okay? Rule number 2, please be respectful. Especially with books that have a lot of different opinions, I love to hear all of them. And I want you to make sure that you respect everyone's opinion, because when we had Diversity Day, and we talked about everyone learning differently, part of that is everyone's going to have a different idea on things, okay? Third, only speak when you have the talking ball. I know that some of you guys would be so excited to give your opinions on certain things, but I want you to make sure you respect and listen to whoever has this green ball, because it's important to me that everyone gets a chance to talk. Next, you will be graded on your input. I'm going to be making marks on who's speaking and who hasn't yet spoken. I know some people might be shy. I was one of those kids growing up, but it's important that you guys try to learn to speak and present, because that's important. Finally, let others speak if you've already spoken. One thing that I like is when people know I could say something about this, but I'm going to let this person talk because they haven't said anything yet. So what's going to happen is, as soon as I see hands raised for whatever question, I'm going to throw it to that person or toss it. Make sure not overhand, but toss it. Okay? And then once they have the ball, they can go ahead and say their piece. You can add to their piece and say, oh, I agree with them, and this is what I say about it. All right? But you can't just say, I agree. Because again, it's like I have a belly button. That's not anything new to this situation. Are there any questions before we begin? So for the hands, are these questions about this? All right, Sandra.
So if you have the ball and then they pass it to you, then you say something for the next turn, you can't raise your hand anymore?
What I will ask you to do is, at least until everyone has spoken, try to keep your comments to one comment, okay? I know that seems a little unfair if you have a lot of stuff to talk about, but the reason is I want to give everyone a chance that might be a little shyer to speak up. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Adrian.
What about, like, are you just going to toss it to our desks?
I'm going to toss it to your desk, and what I ask you to do is try to make it easy for someone to pick up, and if they don't grab it automatically, just act like they were able to catch it on the first try, and we'll make sure to get it to them, okay? Brianna, last comment.
What if we want to add? Do we just raise our hand? Or like to say if we agreed, or do we need the ball?
You need the ball, okay? And the reason is that I don't want you to just agree, I want you to add a little something to it. Like, I agree, and this is why. Just kind of like with race, you want to answer it too and give evidence. All right, at this time, I want to get started because we have 20 minutes to make sure that we do this. All right, one comment for each. And I'm not going to ask the question, or I'm not going to even ask the question. I'm going to let you pick. So from your list, you can pick whatever one you want to talk about first, and whoever wants to start can start. All right. Let's start with Fabian. Here you go. All right. And tell us the question too, please.
I want to answer, in what ways are you like Esperanza? And I said, I'm like Esperanza because we have thoughts, lots of thoughts, friends, and a sister.
Okay. Very good, and thank you for sharing. So go ahead and you can toss it to someone else that has their hand raised.
Do I say the name?
Yeah, make sure they know it's coming to them. It's okay. This happens once in a while. Make sure you're listening to Ed, though. Let's give him the respect that you give him to everybody else.
The question is, what is the importance of Mango Street in Esperanza's life? I said Esperanza's life is important because she doesn't give up whatever wants.
Okay.
She doesn't give up in nothing.
Cool. And I want to also point out that if you want to speak on what he's saying, that can count towards your comment. It doesn't have to be what's on the list. So the list is just meant to help you if you're a little lost. So Ed, you can throw it to whoever you want.
Okay, I want to answer, would you recommend this book, why or why not? I would recommend the book because it's a story of a little girl who goes through so much stuff, and so many people could relate to that and they would like it, and it's just a really good book.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you for sharing.
Sandra.
It's okay. Act like you got the ball given to you.
I have it.
Good. Which one would you like to answer?
Why do you think Esperanza has grit, why not? I think Esperanza does have grit because, like, when something bad will happen to her, she wouldn't just stay right there and, like, think about what happened. She wanted to go on with her life and do whatever was next, like, part of her life.
All right, and I want to skip to Sanders just for a second because I think that's really good. All right, the question was again, how does Esperanza have grit? And Sandra said that the reason that she has grit is because she goes through all of these things, and instead of stopping or giving up, and there's a lot of things that happen to her that are tough, right? She continues to get better. She continues to keep moving forward. Excellent answer. You can throw it to whoever you want.
To travel, like that.
Okay, just go ahead, toss. Good, good catch.
Number 3, what vignette really spoke to you, meaning what had the most impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
I like the vignette where they arrive at the house. They're excited about what the house is gonna look like, and when they finally get there, they're disappointed because they think that the house is gonna be like a huge mansion where trees are surrounding it. It's all beautiful, and it's not. And that's the way that because in the past I've had friends that have explained to me how when they first moved into their house, that's how they felt.
Okay.
And,
Excellent. All right, anybody else?
No.
Adrian?
Yeah, remember he's still learning names, so help him out. Thank you.
I wanna answer how is the neighborhood that Esperanza lived similar in Albuquerque? Is that I used to live further south
Okay.
before, and there was like a really bad neighborhood that I lived on, and the house that I lived, well, it was an apartment, and it was like the water would always shut off that we lived in, and then the paint, like, we would have to repaint like every 2 months because the paint would like crumble, and then we finally moved away, and then, yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Adrian. Thank you. Anybody that wants to go, you can throw it to whoever you want.
Jessica?
Good catch.
Number 4, always say like Esperanza. The ways that you make Esperanza are that she is going through lessons, and I do too. And she sometimes, well not sometimes, but she mostly has problems, and I do too. Some problems with friends and some problems with family.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody you want?
The question I want to answer is, how is family important to Esperanza? And she loves her family, because in the book it says that she mostly loves her mom, but she still has love for the rest of her family. Even though sometimes like her little sister and her brothers can be a little annoying.
Okay. Very good. You can throw it to whoever you want.
I agree with her. I wanna add something.
Go right ahead.
So I put, she doesn't care whoever her family is, and then because I know because she talks about her family throughout the whole story and their opinions and how she characterizes them.
Very good. Anybody else?
Erin?
Good catch.
I have number. Oh, I have number 16. What do you think people could learn from Esperanza, especially women? I think they can learn some of the vignettes, someone else touched them. And you should like tell people so you're not hurting from that.
That's a good message. Excellent job, Aaron. Whoever you want to throw it to.
Maybe.
say number 2. It's important to, Esperanza's family is important to her because she mostly talks about Lenny, Mama, Papa, and mostly all of the nets.
All right, for people that haven't spoken yet, just a reminder, you are graded for 1 comment, so you can use any of the questions, but I want you to remember that this is part of your grade, okay? Take a risk. We want to see that.
She always talks about her family
Okay.
all the time. Well, I always talk about my family all the time.
That's a good thing. All right. Thank you for sharing. Could you throw it to anybody you want to?
I want to answer question 6. How is the neighborhood that Esperanza lived in similar to your neighborhood here in Albuquerque? Mine is similar because I know like most of the kids on the block and like they're all my friends. And really cool.
Run away, well. Make sure you're listening to Stella.
So I want to respond to number 19. How does Esperanza identity change from the beginning of the book to the end? Well, her identity changed because at first she didn't like the house on Mingo Street, but then at the end she started knowing everybody and she started making friends.
Anybody else? Again, people that haven't spoken, try to get those people if you know they haven't spoken yet.
Javier.
There we go. Good catch. Javier, go ahead. Whatever question you want.
Wait, do I still have the answers?
You just tell me what you want to say.
For number 3, what Renee really spoke to you, meaning what had the most impact on you and why? It's like, I forgot the chapter.
Well, you can just talk about what the chapter was about too. So what chapter did you like the most or had the most impact on you?
It's like, when I was in the last chapter,
Okay. And why is that?
because she figures out her talent and then she's gonna have her own house and then she's gonna where it's gonna be nice and quiet.
Okay. So she figures out her talent in that last chapter. She figures out her dream house, and she's going to figure out where she's at. Thank you for sharing. You can throw it to anyone that hasn't talked yet. I know Destiny hasn't talked yet, Javier, and neither is Giselle. Or Jasmine, too. Or Nathaniel, too. It's okay. It's a work in progress. We'll get better at this, I promise.
I think I'm doing number 8, so I would characterize Esperanza by adventurous and friendly. I would characterize her as these two because in the chapter, the monkey garden, like all those monkeys that used to live there, she didn't want to go to there, but then since they moved, she's wanted to explore the house, and then I'd characterize her as friendly because she is.
Destiny, Adrian, I think, spoken, but Giselle hasn't. And Jessica, or Angelica, sorry.
Angelica?
Keep going. Go ahead and talk to the class. So it's all cramped together like hers? Okay. At this point, I think we've gotten any Alfredo, so go ahead and pass it to him. You can pick any of them to talk about.
I picked like 18 because how is identity important to Esperanza in book? I think identity is important to Esperanza because like without like her identity, it will be like nothing like the story will be all messed up and then like nothing exciting might happen, and then the story will just like be like a few pages and then stop.
Go ahead and pass it to Destiny too, please. Alright, Destiny. And at this point, anybody that has already spoken can speak again on anything they want to now, okay? So Destiny, go ahead, make sure everyone's listening to her though. The vignette. Okay, so you identified with the first chapter because, like you didn't like the house you moved into, just like Esperanza. Thank you. All right, at this point you can throw it to anybody because we're free.
And in the beginning of the book, she was like a really sad person and lonely because she didn't have any friends, and she didn't feel like she belonged there, and she didn't like the house. And then at the end and the middle, she started to change more because she was starting to get more friends, and she was kind of getting used to the thing. And then so she was like getting more happier in the middle. And then at the end, there was a bunch of things that were happening to her, but she still moved on, and so I think that she got like more adventures and she was able to create her life.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anybody you want to throw it to?
Somebody who's calm because everybody's like that. And
I think the Sunny Norway is your neighborhood different than Esperanza. Mine is different because there's no like buildings next to it.
Okay.
Or like the houses, not apartments. We have little spaces next to each other. They're not like crowd.
Very good. Patricia.
Okay. Karen?
That's all right. There you go.
What was number 8? How would you characterize Esperanza's life? I will characterize her by thoughts. I think she is a very educated person because when she didn't follow throughout the story Sally's steps. So you know how she talks about Sally a lot and how she lied and everything, and she doesn't follow her steps.
There you go. Okay. You throw it to whoever you want. Again, make sure, even if you have your hand raised, to be listening. That's important.
Brianna?
Okay, I wanted to do you think that Esperanza has grit? Why or why not? And I agree with Sandra, but I had a little different answer.
Okay.
I think Esperanza has grit because all that she's gone through and all the terrible things and the good things, she still has one dream, and that's to have a good house. So her grit is to have a good house.
Very good. You can throw it to wherever you want. We're going to start wrapping up, just to let you know, too.
Just go.
Good catch.
Number 1, what is the industry
Make sure we're listening, please. Very good. One last comment. sure everyone's listening to Adrian. So even for active listening, make sure you're looking at him. Make sure you're quiet so you can hear what he has to say.
Well, my comment is on number 2. How is family important to Esperanza, and how do we know? Well, she doesn't like other people talking about her family because, like, she gets, like, well, I remember it was, like, when we barely started this book, there was a vignette where it said that she doesn't like other people, like, she got mad when someone tried to talk about her family, and then, yeah. Oh,
Can you make it?
yeah, I can make it.
Good catch. All right. Now, we will do this again. I know tons of people have tons more comments, and I'm sorry we cannot get to yours right now. But here's what I'll say. If you want to talk about the book, I'm always happy to talk about the book with you. All right? And secondly, I want you to give yourselves a hand for doing a good job with this. All right. Take out your agendas and your planners, please. Take out your agendas and planners.
What if we didn't get to talk to
I can bring back.